talked about it, and I couldn't figure out what it said. Well, to have a vote. I mean, if we're saying let's do it tonight, great, yeah.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and call tonight's meeting order. If able, please stand and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Pape,
Here?
Councilmember Shavetta,
Here.
Councilmember Kosemeyer,
Here.
Councilmember Hands,
Here.
Councilmember Caldwell,
Here.
Councilmember Leahy,
Here.
Councilmember Ryder,
Here.
Councilmember Silvers,
Here.
Councilmember Yodridge.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item up this evening is public items. Members of the public are encouraged to use this time to make comments about matters that do not appear on the agenda. Comments about items on the regular agenda will be taken up as each item is considered. Please note individuals making public comments will be limited to 5 minutes. In accordance with the governing body rules and procedures, city reserves the right to refuse public comments that are personal, impertinent, or slanderous. I did have a sign-up sheet that was out in the lobby, but no one has signed up. Is there anyone out there this evening that would like to come forward and address the council? Come forward, Mr. Crone, give your name and address for the record.
Of course. I'll make sure that timer's running. 67th Street is starting to weep. We had a major blowout on 75th last weekend, and I bet you 67th is coming next, so I'd like to know what we're going to do to prevent that from happening on a recurring basis. It's leaking through the asphalt. And then I had a couple agenda items, but I will raise my hand when those come up. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else that would like to come forward at this time, please do so, or raise your hand, I'll call you forward. Okay, I see no one else coming forward at this time, so I will close out the public items. Next item up this evening is consent agenda. All items listed under this heading are considered to be routine by the city council, may be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion of these items unless the council member so requests, in which case that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. We do have 3 items this evening. Does any council member wish to have any of those items removed from the consent? Okay. I see nobody wanting to have anything removed. I would entertain a motion. Mr. Silvers, please.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that the council approve consent agenda items 1 through 3.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Ms. Hands.
I second that.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion, second.
Councilmember Shavetta,
Aye.
Councilmember Kosemeyer,
Aye.
Councilmember Hands,
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell,
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy,
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder,
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item up this evening is Mayor's report. The first item is proclamations, and you guys know how much I love proclamations, so I'm going to read this one to you. Whereas park and recreation programs are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including Merriam, and whereas parks and recreation are vitally important to maintaining the quality of life in our city and contributing to the economic and environmental well-being of our community, and whereas parks and recreation promotes health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of our community members, and whereas parks and recreation encourages physical activities by providing space for fitness classes, hiking trails, swimming pools, and many other programs designed to promote healthy and active lifestyles, including educational activities and citywide special events, and whereas parks and recreation programming and educational activities such as out-of-school time programming, youth sports, and STEAM education workshops are critical to the childhood development And whereas the city of Merriam recognizes the benefits derived from these parks and recreation resources, now therefore I, Bob Pape, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as the mayor of Merriam, Kansas, do hereby proclaim July 2025 as Parks and Recreation Month, proclaimed on this 14th day of July, 2025. Bob Pape, Mayor. And I assume we'll be giving this to Director Slocum and a picture. And anybody else, please have your old staff come forward.
This isn't all my staff. Okay, just fair.
Just pick out your favorite.
Those are already here.
No, no, no.
We'll let you get in the middle.
Okay.
Oh, Charlie,
And
wanna
here,
get on?
Let me give this to you.
Perfect. Ready?
Oh, we gotta get closer, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. You guys do a great job. Okay, well, gosh, I came up here again, but I'll probably be coming back as I look at my next item, Employee Service Awards on the second quarter. It looks like we got Mr. Engel coming forward. I'll just come on down there. How's that?
All right, the mayor's on his way down. This is where we recognize our second quarter anniversary employees being they're on their 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30-year anniversary. We used to do this on an annual basis, but now we do it on a quarterly basis so we can take a little bit extra time and have the council and the public see them as opposed to having 20-something people up here. We can have 4 or 5 people up here we can share our appreciation with. So our first employee that we're recognizing tonight with 5 years of dedicated service to our Park and Rec Department is Lynn Rash.
Hold on to that. Sure. They won't want to get a picture. And please, just stand over here. We're gonna have a group picture at the end.
Okay.
Next employee that we are recognizing with 10 years of dedicated service. This is 10 years of dedicated service to being an elected official. However, there is 38 years of dedicated service as a staff member before being elected official. That is Mayor Bob Pape with 10 years as being elected official.
Don't let me forget this. Okay.
Next, with 20 years of dedicated service to our police department is Wes Waller with our police department.
Congratulations. Thanks. Sweet. Okay. Ooh, step out there.
And then last but not least, with 20 years of dedicated service as an elected official with the city of Merriam, we have Chris Evans Hands, 20 years.
Congratulations. Okay, group photo. Okay. Come on back. Oh, let me get mine. Yeah, what,
We
please?
could switch.
Okay.
That would confuse everyone.
All right.
Give one more round of applause for all of our anniversary elected officials. Always a great joy to be able to do that. Also, as the mayor's going back up, just quick, we're going to do some introductions. We have a few new folks in the house. We started doing this also in the last 6 months to a year. When we have new employees that start with the city, we invite them to come to city council meetings so we can introduce them to the council, to the public. People can kind of start to get a face with the name. So I just want to call out a couple names. If you'll stand when I call your name, please wave to everybody so they can put a face with the name. In our Public Works Department, we've got a new project manager, Sean Johnson. We do have an employee, Frank Gomez. He was unable to be here, but he's also in our Public Works Department. I look forward to getting opportunities to meet with him. New office coordinator in our Community Development Department is Yolanda Jackson. our Park and Rec department, we have, two new employees. Logan Dunn is not here, but we do have our and he is our recreation assistant for our programs. But we do have our recreation intern, Charlie Musel, here. Also, from our police department, we have our police intern, Annabelle Davis. And then we do also have a management intern who is not here tonight in City Hall. That is Zachary Markison. So those are all of our, we have a variety of new employees from lifeguards, slide concessions. None of them are in attendance tonight, but I'm happy to share those names with you if you'd like. But again, I think it's important that we have our new employees, that we bring them to our meetings. So you get the opportunity to see the council gets an opportunity to see you, the public gets an opportunity to see, and we can get a little better understanding of how all of these things work in local government. So again, let's give it up to all of our new employees.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and welcome to Team Merriam, all you new employees, and as they rush out and leave us. All right, that's okay, though. Thanks for coming this evening. Yeah, that's right. Okay, let's see, we have, it looks like the next item I have, Mr. Engel, is confirm the appointment of Megan Borth as our city treasurer.
Yep,
Who
I'm
would
going to be
you?
doing that from here, sorry, if
Okay,
that's okay.
that's fine.
City Code Section 261 requires the mayor with the consent of the council to appoint a city treasurer. The duties of the treasurer include being the signatory of all the accounts and our checks, provides the quarterly treasurer's report, which she's been doing fabulously, and also the mayor and the city treasurer go through the check issuing process. We would love to appoint Megan Borth as our city treasurer with the consent of the mayor and the city council. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay, I see no questions. Well, I would entertain a motion for this. Ms. Hands.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move that the council confirm the appointment of Megan Borth as city treasurer.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Oh, over here. Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Shveta.
Mr. Mayor, I second that.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we have a motion, a second.
Councilmember Cosmeyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, this is the last item on the mayor's report. I always like to say a little bit about what I and other council members have done over the last couple of weeks, and I'll just read through this rather quickly. I met with Mr. Engel and Ms. Pinnock and signed numerous documents concerning our recent contract with Drake Development and the bonds we secured. I and volunteers and Park and Rec staff marked the fields of freedom at the marketplace, so the flags could be erected on Saturday. And I and volunteers and several council assisted in putting up over 600 flags down in that field. I assisted in the fundraising event for Johnson County Kiwanis. We utilize these funds to help numerous projects around the county. I worked with Jenna Gant for the mayor's article that's going out in the Merriam highlights. We have lots of great things to share with our community. Several council and numerous volunteers helped to put on a spectacular 4th of July event that included patriotic music from the American Legion Band of Greater Kansas City. Food was also available, and the big fans helped to cool the people off, is my understanding down there. These types of events are what makes Merriam a great city. Several council and numerous volunteers helped to take down the flags. It amazes me every year how many volunteers from our community step up to assist in this endeavor. It means a lot to them to show their patriotism with those flags. I attended the Johnson County Kiwanis meeting, giving updates, and I and a couple of council members attended the employee luncheon hosted by our Park and Rec. Fun games, fellowship, and food were had while acknowledging the great work that our employees are doing. Actually, several council and myself attended the Family Family Fun Night. What is it? Friday Family Fun Night. I still like partying in the park. I'm sorry, but Friday. I think that's how it's said. What is? Family Fun Friday. There you go. I even had it backwards. Even then, maybe I'm dyslexic. But anyway, it's a great event, and we almost beat out the rain, but. Got my car washed that night, so that was good too. And then I and a council member met with Mr. Engel to develop tonight's agenda. That's what I have. Is there anything else that anyone else that I've missed on some items you guys might have done? Mr. Silvers, go ahead.
Public Works hosted a great event for us, the picnic. Not the picnic, but the,
We.
did I say Parks and Rec? I'm sorry. I didn't mean
Okay.
to, I apologize.
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec
Oh, for our,
hosted a
for our
great.
cruise night, also attended that, did somebody,
No, the,
someone else?
Hannah, please.
I missed the cruise night.
Employee lunch, thank you.
Yeah, oh, the employee
I'm
lunch.
sorry.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to sleep.
But you did, no, you're good. But you did remind me, I think I missed, talking about the car show, right? I mean, gosh, that's my favorite, one of my favorite events. That's just not the favorite, but one of them. And I was at that as well, too. Had my car
Also,
down.
Parks and
Yes.
Rec and Cole at the pool also put on a great all-city dive meet Friday and Saturday.
That is true.
They also didn't beat the rain.
How'd we do?
finish.
Did we win anything?
I don't know how we did as a city, but I know my daughter did pretty well.
You did? Well, congrats to your daughter. Okay. All right, anything else? We got, okay. So anyway, we just like to talk about this. It's not just 2 meetings a night that we're up here. We do things throughout the month. Looks like next item up, council items, approval of a contract for participation in the MARC cooperative contract. All right, of course, the city administrator is coming forward.
Good evening. We have 3 consecutive items to discuss the single hauler process. These are the 3 remaining final items that you all need to consider. They are in this order on purpose. If you don't approve the first one or the subsequent one, that's kind of how it works. We really don't need to talk about them any further. However, we do have a representative with GFL in the audience if you do have questions that I cannot answer, but hopefully we've talked about this enough that we have the answers for you. The first item is the approval of the contract to participate in the MARC cooperative agreement. So the action would formally include us within that cooperative contract for solid waste, so trash recycling and yard waste services. The contract was competitively bid through MARC, which allows multiple cities to participate in a cooperative negotiating price terms contract. We did conduct our own bid, as you do know, and the low bid, which was also the preferred bid by GFL, was the competitive bid and the rate that was provided to us. Participating in the contract would simplify the procurement method and allow us to align our program with the regional standards while saving time and resources on our end during the bidding process. There is no direct associated cost with participating in the MARC contract. That would come through subsequent subcontracts, which is the next agenda item. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from Ms. Gard? Okay, I see no questions. Oh, wait, go ahead, Mr. Cosby.
Yeah, I don't have a question, just a comment. So I'm just really excited for being able to save a lot of money on trash service. Right? I know I've said this before. I pay $468 every year for trash, which is lower than a lot of people I've talked to. It's probably more than some people. Everybody I talk to, about this subject, I try to see how much they're paying. No one has said that they pay anywhere close to $276 a year. And then, again, like I also think that 3% increase annually, max increase is nice. I today looked at my annual average increase over my current contract, and it's been 15% since I first got service with my trash hauler. So,
Good point. Okay. Well, with that, if there's no other comments, I would entertain a motion for this. Mr. Silvers, is that raising your hand? Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that the council approve a contract with Mid-America Regional Council, or MARC, to participate in the cooperative contract for solid waste services.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. LaHaye.
I'll second that.
Yeah, Madam Clerk, we have a motion, a second.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Councilmember Cosmeyer.
aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ms. Gard is going to take the next item too, I'll bet.
Yes, the next item is the approval of the subcontract that you just approved, or the contract you just approved and subcontract to GFL Environmental, which was the low bid on both the MARC and preferred provider for that contract, and also the preferred provider during the Merriam bid process. This subcontract outlines, sorry, Julie, will you please pull up the slide? Thank you. This subcontract outlines Merriam's specific terms and expectations. We've seen this slide a number of times before. It's also been published in the highlights on our merriam.org/trash. We have a plethora of frequently asked questions on that webpage. Please direct people to that webpage if they have questions, and if you get a question that we happen to not have gotten before, we will certainly add it onto that page. Nothing on this slide has changed since we've seen it before. This is just the formalization of that contract and assigning it to GFL. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Go ahead, Mr. Silvers, your question?
I just wanted to share a small concern that I have with option 2. I understand that lots of times people do enroll in programs through their utilities that level out their rate by paying multiple, or, doing a flat level rate. But I just have some concern that we're going to be asking people to participate in this program, and then, as stated in this, that there might be slightly higher rates in the early years. And I can't think of any utility that I've ever worked with that wouldn't do the full 3% a year if they have the ability to. And so I just don't feel comfortable necessarily with option 2, and I didn't know if maybe you could explain how that would maybe be preferable, and I'm not quite understanding.
Sure, certainly. So included in your packet are costing items in which we would include in the special assessment to the residents. We do not have to decide this today. We actually don't have to notify the county to put this on residents' special assessments until September of 2026. So we have quite a while to think and talk this over. I just wanted to get you all thinking about your next item is to establish a fund. If you would consider establishing a fund for this, because we will have some upfront costs, and so we'll need at least some sort of costs associated in 2026, whether that be front-loaded or not. And so what that means is, should we upfront the fund with money, and what does that look like? Should that come from the general fund, or should we start assessing that at an earlier rate? As far as it comes to assessing the residents, should it be a flat rate over the 5 years and not have an annual increase? That's option 2, actually. Option 1 would be the 3% increase every year, and option 2 would be the flat rate with no increases every year. Like I said, you don't have to decide that tonight. I was just providing you all options. Certainly, as we decide this over the next many months, we will have, I'll show you graphs and charts on what that's going to look like, and fund balances and everything like that. As we start to project that out, I just wanted you to all start thinking about what that would look like.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Garden? Okay, I would entertain a motion. Ms. Hans?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council approve a subcontract establishing direct service terms between the City of Merriam and GFL Environmental for single hauler trash, recycling, and yard waste services.
Okay, Ms. Shveta?
Mr. Mayor, I second that.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion, a second.
Councilmember Caldwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Councilmember Kosemeyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next, you're still there.
I still am. All right, so our final solid waste item tonight is the creation of a solid waste fund for budgeting purposes. This will be a new fund you all see in 2026, so we can track and manage our solid waste expenses. Not only the incoming expenses we'll get from the special assessment from our residents, but also the outgoing expenses that we'll pay to GFL, and also that half of the full-time employee that we'll be hiring to help supplement this program. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Ms. Gard? Okay, I see no questions. I would entertain a motion. Go ahead, Ms. Kosemeyer.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council approve a resolution establishing a solid waste fund.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second? Go this way. Go ahead, Mr. Silvers.
Mr. Mayor, I'll second that.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we have a motion, and a second.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Councilmember Kosemeyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay. Looks like next item up is creation of a CID fund. Are you handling?
Here I am, yep.
Jump right on.
Very similar to the item that you just considered. This is also just a formality. The state statute requires when a community improvement district is established, in order to manage the income and outcome of those expenses, a separate fund is created for accounting purposes. And so the formality you all need to take is just establishing a separate fund through resolution. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Gordon? Okay, I see no questions. I would entertain a motion for that. Sands.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council approve a resolution establishing a CID fund.
Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Go ahead, Ms. Ryder.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion second, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Councilmember Cosmeyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, it looks like next time up, Mr. Ingles coming to the podium.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Next item on the agenda is consider a payment of $720,000 to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for Upper Turkey Creek Stormwater Project. As you are all aware, we've been working with the Corps for over 20 years. We, in 2015, had a feasibility study that was approved and languished at the appropriations level in Washington, D.C. until the bipartisan infrastructure bill was passed. So since 2022, the Corps has been back on the scene trying to validate their 2015 study. As we have continued to go through that process and validate it, we continue to find different things that were not contemplated or were not at the level of depth that that engineering study was at. We had hoped to have all of that information to be able to have a decisive conversation at the council and the public level about this time. Unfortunately, there is more information that's been discovered that staff feels is important that we run to ground before we actually make a decision, because I don't believe we can truly make a decision unless we find this information out. Specifically, the two pieces of information that we're looking for is there is a high likelihood that both of the bridges will need to be replaced. They will need to be elevated. If we are going to elevate the bridge at Johnson Drive to chase that grade, there is a likelihood that Merriam Drive will have to shift to the east. As you are aware, if you have to shift Merriam Drive to the east, there are considerable businesses in the way of that road. We do not believe that we can have a conversation about if we should pursue this path with the Corps until we actually have the answers of, do we need to move that road? So that is part of what this $720,000 is going to go toward. Another part of this $720,000 is going to go toward a more detailed level map, what I call at the parcel level, so that we can have a parcel level conversation with each of our businesses about how this project is going to impact them. As you can imagine, there are utilities that need to be moved. There are utilities that need to be relocated from point A to point B. There are permanent easements, there are permanent acquisitions, and there are temporary construction easements that all need to occur, and they touch many, many people's properties, some more impactful than others. We don't have the level of detail to tell people yet how this is going to impact them, and we believe that is going to want to be part of the conversation. So we have requested that the Corps move ahead with some of their process to give us some of this information that wouldn't be available till a little bit later. As a reminder, the Corps generally, when they do projects, they're out on the Missouri River, they're dealing with 4 farmers in their farm field. They're not dealing with 100 different parcels in a highly dense populated area. So their forecasting of the conversations that need to happen don't have the level of urgency or detail that they do when we think about those conversations that we need to have. So we have went back to them and said we can't have those conversations until we have this information. So what you have in front of you there is the next level of funding to get us to that point, which should be January. If I want to get real specific, I've been told January 22nd of 2026 we'll have this information. But this next phase is going to cost $2.06 million. So the local match, which is 35%, is $720,000. If you will recall, Our county partners graciously pick up 75% of that. So ultimately, they'll pay $540,000. We'll only pay $180,000. But if the council approves moving forward with this process this evening, we will pay the whole $720,000 as the local sponsor, and we will seek reimbursement from the county. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Engel? Go ahead, Mr. Caldwell.
Who owns the data when we're done?
We
maps, we will own
We
them?
will own all of it. So
And so if we part company with the Corps and do something on our own, we can take the maps and the data and the plan and,
we have strategically planned all of these things out. Well, there are many things that are very core specific. The last conversation that Mr. Dyer and myself had, and then a subsequent conversation that Ms. Gard and I had specifically with the Corps, was to tell them that their funding priorities needed to shift more to the things that we need than the things that they need, because they're already assuming that we're going to move forward with this project. And I've made it very clear that we do not know if we're going to move forward with it unless we have all this additional information. So we've been very clear about that, and we will possess all of that information if we choose to go our own way. So as I've said internally, if we decide to do some other project, we're starting on second base. Did that answer your question?
Any other questions for Mr. Engel? Okay, I guess I see no questions. I would entertain a motion for this. Go ahead.
We've got
Oh,
a
I'm sorry.
public comment.
Before we vote, Mr. Crone has raised his hand. Please come forward, sir, and give your name and address for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. $720,000 is a lot of money to throw towards the continued destruction of our historic downtown, and for what? To save downtown from flooding? Destroying downtown to save our downtown is nuts. This is doublespeak that would belong in 1984. War is peace, love is hate, and destroying our Merriam downtown will save our Merriam downtown. Please don't do that. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Crone? Okay, I would entertain a motion this time. Go ahead, Ms. Shveta.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council approve payment of $720,000 to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to further the engineering and design of the Upper Turkey Creek Stormwater Project.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Okay, this way, Mr. Lay.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Councilmember Kosmeyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell.
aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
If I could just, as a postscript,
Sure.
it's not to make light of the tragedy that is occurring down in Texas, but it is coming to light right now that there were many properties that for purely selfish economic reasons were removed or asked to be removed from the floodplain down there. And unfortunately, some of those properties were removed and probably shouldn't have been. So it's important that we keep that in mind and keep those people in our prayers.
Thank you, sir. Okay, it looks like next item up is a contract with contracting with Denton. Mr. Engel's going to handle that one.
Next item on the agenda is consider contracting with Denton Excavating doing business as Midland Wrecking for demolition of 3 city-owned buildings. As you are all aware, recently we closed on the last of 3 buildings on downtown Merriam Drive. Those 3 buildings are all in a row. They're immediately adjacent to city-owned property at the marketplace, so it's the 3 buildings to the north and across the street from city-owned property at 5701. Those properties will either be needed for some sort of future floodplain mitigation or perhaps some sort of redevelopment, whether that's redevelopment for commercial or for public use, who's to say, but those properties are now under city control. We have used Midland Wrecking for a variety of uses for demolition purposes over the course of the last several years. They've performed well, they've performed up to bid. They're recently just finished rolling off of the library site, and within the last week, I believe, removed the last of the 3 properties up at the corner of Antioch and Merriam Drive. I believe it was 5001 was that last building that needed to be removed. Again, all of those have been done within professionally and within budget. The combined cost for those 3 buildings, assuming we want to go forward with all 3, is $131,700. Staff would be asking for a not to exceed amount of $135,000. Just in case we run into some sort of problems, we are aware simply because Denton's grandfather actually built one of those buildings. One of those buildings has piers that go about 15 feet down into the ground because of the flooding that was occurring on a pretty 3 times a decade for many, many years. So we don't exactly know what we're going to get into when we get into the ground. So we're asking for just a couple $1,000s of contingency. And if we need more, we'd come back to the council. But again, happy to answer any questions about eliminating those 3 properties. So, and as a addition, we will be working on phasing with them. We recognize we've got several city events that are occurring downtown. We've got the car show, Merriam Drive Live, 75th birthday. We certainly want to put on our best foot, stand on our best foot, whatever that saying is, and have downtown look as nice as we can. We certainly don't want a pile of debris down there. And also, the car show has asked if it would be possible to phase from the north to the south, so there would be additional parking on that northern end, because if you will recall, that is actually where we put up the barricade right there at 5701. So we will try to work with them to see if we can't phase that. I think in our best case scenario, we'd have it all remediated and gone by then, but it might be we go building by building and have to let one sit there for a little bit while we get these events out of the way. But we will be mindful of that. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Engel? Go ahead, Ms. Hanson.
At one point, we talked about having a different entrance to the marketplace, but we're
That has nothing to do with this demo,
Right.
But we have one of the long-term visions, even one of the visions we looked at for the street remodel was that we would move the main entryway to the north. So this, in some future scenario, depending on what we end up doing and what these properties are needed for, we would still probably recommend that, because if you will recall, assuming that the marketplace, all of that stuff stays, we were going to put that entryway into the marketplace, put power in there, put seating in there, so that could kind of be a food truck venue. Again, we did not pass that street, but it still exists. We have that project on hold.
Just hearing us talk about reseeding and all of that,
Sure.
with hopefully having a different entrance. Just
Yeah, it is also quite possible that those 3 properties, should we go forward with the core, that they'll be needed for the core. So again, this is one of those strategic investments that we're making. If it's needed for the core, all of these costs, the acquisition, the removal, the moving rigged in within Merriam, which I think is a fantastic story, all of those things will be reimbursable, or at least, I should say, we will receive credit for our local contribution for all of this work if we go forward with the core.
great.
Good, Mr. Cosmo.
Yeah, no, I think even even if there isn't significant earthwork that happens, it's still important. I think that those 3 properties, since they're adjacent to Merriam Marketplace, they can be used as usable open space. One of the big methods for floodplain mitigation and reducing hazard is buying out properties that are at risk, and all 3 of those properties, as are in the floodplain and the floodway. In fact, and I know that's really timely given the Texas flooding, but because they're in the floodplain and the floodway, it's essentially uninsurable. Any commercial user wouldn't be able to build or redevelop those buildings anyway. So using them as open space adjacent to the marketplace is a great way to both remove or reduce risk in Merriam, and then also provide amenities.
Absolutely, great point. Yeah, that will be, we would assume, one of the considerations that the council will consider as we look at the future. But yeah, no, absolutely, great point.
Any other questions for Mr. Engel? Okay, well, I would entertain a motion. Sands?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council approve 3 proposals with Denton Excavating, also known as Midland Wrecking, for a total amount not to exceed $135,000 for the demolition of 3 city-owned buildings.
We have a motion. Do I have a second? Go ahead, Mr. Cosmo.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to second.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion and a second.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Councilmember Cosmeyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Looks like next item up is consider approval of intent to exceed revenue neutral rate. We got Director Borth.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. Oh, goodness. Sorry, one second. There we go. So this evening, we actually have the next part of our budget process, which is going to be a statutory requirement. There we go. The state dictates that council must vote on whether or not you intend to exceed the revenue neutral rate. So between the last council meeting and this one, we received final numbers from the county, which we'll get into in a little bit, and there was actually their official form included in your packet tonight. So based on those numbers, they are now asking you if you intend or do not intend to exceed. With this statutory requirement, if you choose not to vote that you will exceed it, we completely lose the ability to exceed it later on. However, if tonight you vote to exceed it and say that that is your intent, but then once you get the detailed budget, you decide that you do not want to exceed the revenue neutral rate, maybe you want to go with that number, or you want to go lower, that option is still available to you. So a vote tonight is not a commitment unless you vote not to exceed. So with that in mind, I'm going to give you just a very high-level summary of our expenditures and the revenues that we talked about last time. At any point, feel free to stop me and ask questions. You will get a more detailed version of this here shortly, what you're used to seeing in a budget book. This is just to get your brains thinking about our revenues and our expenditures before you get all those details handed to you. So this is just to start the conversation. So when you get the detailed budget, everything that is included, the major changes are these. Oftentimes you'll see the large personnel changes. Sticking with what we have done historically, there is a 3% cost of living adjustment and a 2% merit increase. That is what we budget for. Staff can get up to 2%. And then we also just completed a compensation study, and so we have budgeted for those adjustments as well. We also budgeted for a 15% increase in health insurance. This may seem like a lot. We usually do not see a 15% increase. However, we don't get those final rates until September. So that is a large chunk of money that we hope that we will not have to pay, but we have seen anywhere from 5 to 10%. So 15 just makes us feel comfortable with what our budget is. Also included, there was a request for a new full-time person, a technology specialist. This will just allow our IT department to handle the support and the new increased demand, especially as we did our transition to the new Microsoft Office 365.
If I could interrupt.
Yes, sir.
FTEs generally, those that have been here, I generally present those. I plan to present those. I apologize. I don't have these completely sussed out, but the budget does have the one FTE in it for the information technology. We'll come back and I will make a presentation to the council on that position. Then there's another one that we're still putting just the final touches on, the details for that position. That's that Freedom of Information Officer that I'll be recommending. So I didn't mean to interrupt. I just want to say we will give way more detail than what's presented here. So I apologize for interrupting.
Yes, sir. Then we also have a few programs, which I believe council is aware of all of these, but the ones that are listed have been included. Those are our major changes to programs or additions. Questions? Okay. So for a general fund overview, this shows you our 2024 actuals are the numbers that are going to be presented to you in the budget at the next council meeting. So it shows you where we started the year for each one, and then what we expect or what revenues did come in at, same with expenditures, and then what that would leave our ending balance at. I will remind everyone that we do have to have, our policy is 30 to 35% in the general fund. We are allowed to include the risk management reserve in this, but you'll see a slight change in what was in your packet, and that is just in the fund balance for 2026. It's just so we make sure we meet that requirement. Okay, we'll get into some more details. So we have talked about general fund revenues before, but this is just to show you the difference in the years and just remind you of what you were presented before. This property tax number does include the mill levy that we discussed or presented to you last time, which is a decrease from 2025, 26.669. We did recommend a decrease to 26.415. And so that number is, that 7 million is that mill as we proposed it. So that can also change. You're not being held to anything in front of you tonight. You're not voting on numbers or a mill levy. This is just to give you a high-level overview of what staff is proposing. Yes, ma'am.
Before we go further.
Yes.
Because you are throughout talking about the 2025 budgeted, I think it would be a good thing to say, and we're pretty close to what's being budgeted.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, so if anyone is curious, you're more than welcome to go back to our financial reports that we give every month. But if you'll see for the May one, the most recent, we are tracking well above revenues at this point and well below expenditures for what we budgeted for 2025. So I think these numbers that you're seeing in front of you, we still feel very comfortable with. And they, along with 2024 actuals and audited numbers, guided our decisions throughout the entire budget. And then we also looked at 2023 just because with COVID and the way the economy has been going, it helps to look back a few years.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
If I could also just remind everybody, we had a little wonkiness in the budget where we had the bill change significantly, then it went up significantly. So that I have looked at these numbers on numerous occasions and go, this doesn't look right. And then it's like, oh yeah, it does look right. So just as a reminder, they do look a little out of whack because this is the first year. They were significantly low in 24, and then we raised them back up for this year, just as a reminder.
Okay. And then again, with expenditures, this is your first time seeing these, but all of the highlights that we went over on the first slide are included in here. There were no significant service level changes. If anything, we did slight enhancements to programs based on feedback from council and the public. And then we did the personnel increases that you saw on the first slide. Next, I'm just going to quickly go through some of our major funds. We have the bonded interest. We're continuing to pay. You will see this fund have a little bit more action now that we have our new general obligation bonds. And so that will change for the next years. But then as we see the community center bonds drop off, it will change again. Next up is the transient guest tax fund. This one, we could not get revenues to meet expenditures, but we got significantly closer than we have in prior years for the most part. And so this one, we still feel comfortable with where the fund balance is ending, but it is one that we would not be able to balance revenues and expenditures without cutting services. Okay, and then equipment reserve fund, we were able to fully fund all capital equipment requests in there. There was nothing that had to be cut. We believe that we can fully fund it based on the revenues coming in and then the fund balance, and still feel comfortable with the balance we have. Our policy for this one just dictates that we have to have enough in the fund to be able to fund any capital equipment that needs to be replaced. There's no percentage or number. Next up is the Capital Improvement Fund. We have already discussed CIP in previous meetings. This is just throwing out no projects have substantially changed since we presented that to you, but part of your budget book will include a full CIP and a breakdown of all of this. So the revenues and expenditures have not significantly changed. I don't believe they've changed at all since last time you saw them. The only other expenditure item for this is operating expenditures. So we do budget Sean, which was introduced tonight. So your project manager is budgeted out of this. And then half of a public works director is budgeted out of this as well. So there's a little bit of administrative fees that we're allowed to take out of this fund, and that is what is in that line. One of the last ones is the I-35 TIF district. This again is one that typically just self-balances, but as you know, sales tax comes in for IKEA, it goes out to IKEA and those types of things, and we have to pay our developer agreements. So this one's a little less discretionable. They're pretty set based on our contracts. All right, so I promised we would talk, and this is for what you are going to be voting on tonight. So like I said, the council's official paperwork was in your packet, but that fun-colored line is going to be just the revenue-neutral calculation based on the information they gave us. So according to the county, the revenue-neutral rate will officially be 25.855 mils this year. We have, like I said, proposed to council that we will do a 26.415 mil. We believe that that is what it would take at this time for us to meet or slightly enhance service levels and also just remain competitive with salaries, increase any commodities or services that we need to with inflation and the economy. There were some also increases because of different political actions like tariffs and those types of things were considered as well. So we cut back where we could, trimmed any budgets that we felt could be comfortably, and then so that is what staff will be recommending to you. It's what you'll see in your proposed budget unless tonight you vote not to exceed the rate or I get different direction from you at this point. Questions on that? Okay, so the final slide is what is next. You have seen this slide before, but it essentially tells you what will happen if you choose to vote tonight not to exceed or if you choose to vote tonight to exceed. Voting to exceed does change the process a little bit. So again, it's one of those things where we can't go backwards in time. Once you vote tonight, I submit that to the county and then we start the rest of our calendar. And I will give you a detailed budget following your decision and this meeting. So once I have everything put together for you. But staff would recommend for council to vote to, that their intent is to exceed the revenue neutral rate. And like I said, that does not commit us to doing so. If you see our detailed budget and you want to go with the revenue neutral rate or any other rate, that is your discretion and you can change your mind at any time. That's all I have.
Any questions for Director Borth?
I've got a question. So just a quick clarification, right, this is my first time through the entire budget cycle. So as I understand it, if we maintain the existing revenue neutral rate, we would bring in the same amount of money through property tax, but that means we would probably have to cut program staff somewhere along the lines. We wouldn't be able to maintain the same level of service with that same number of dollars.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any other questions for Director Borth?
Got
Okay.
public again.
Did you want to? Okay. Go ahead and come forward, sir. Give your name and address to the record.
Greetings, Mayor, Mr. Council, greetings, Mr. Mayor and Council. Billy Crone, 6633. So many times I've heard staff couch items like this, like we heard earlier. You can back out at any time. You're not committed. This is just to explore an option. Sleight of hand is all that is. Let's be real. Tonight is the night. Either you want to increase our taxes by exceeding the revenue neutral rate or you don't. That's it. How many of you will be telling voters this election year that you're not raising taxes? How many of you made that promise 2 years ago? Don't deceive our neighbors tonight. The city of Merriam, Kansas, and this council are one taxing district of about a dozen on the yearly tax bills that go out to our neighbors who own homes and businesses in our city. Kansas has thousands of local taxing jurisdictions across the state. Approximately 2,300 of these jurisdictions remained revenue neutral in the last year, and they didn't all burst into flames. This represents about 62% of taxing authorities, according to comments made to the Kansas Senate Committee on Assessment and Taxation in March 2025. This is not only doable, it is very doable. We haven't substantially grown in population. We haven't gained a square inch in my lifetime in this city, and yet we have watched our taxes grow substantially over the years. Don't deceive my neighbors. Don't exceed the revenue neutral rate. Thank you.
Mr. Crone? Okay. Any questions for Director Borth before we vote on this? Okay, go ahead.
I just want to say this isn't a final vote. We will have a public hearing. This triggers that whole process. So I want to restate what we just listened to.
Okay.
And I will say, last presentation on revenues, I had a chart in there that was talking about what our neighbors are doing and our peers in this area. Last week, we actually met as a group, all of the finance directors in the Johnson County, and we are actually going to be, this is just for your information, we are actually going to be one of the few that are decreasing our mill. Most of them are remaining with whatever their 20-25% mill levy was. So we are one of the few that is proposing to decrease it to our council. You are obviously more than welcome to change, do whatever you would choose, but the number that we are bringing to you, we are one of, I believe it was 4 or 5 in Johnson County that are preparing to propose a decrease, and we were the highest on the list with a 1/4 cent decrease. So.
Okay. So no other questions for this. I would entertain a motion. Ms. Hans?
So if I can get through without croaking too much.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council authorize staff to notify Johnson County of the city's intent to exceed the revenue-neutral rate and to hold public hearings on August 25th on this matter.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second? This way, Ms. Shredder.
Mr. Mayor, I second that.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion and a second.
Councilmember Cosmeyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, next item up, I believe, would be staff items, and we have a July CIP update. Okay. Director Cummings to the podium.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The July CIP update is in your packet, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. I did want to provide you with the latest and greatest on our underground and utilities project. So Capital, who is the subcontractor for Evergy, is almost complete. And so hopefully what they're saying is that they'll energize the electricity by the end of tomorrow, and then the lane drop on Shawnee Mission Parkway will go away. We still have Google and Spectrum that need to bore underneath Antioch, south of Shawnee Mission Parkway, and then they're going to be installing their fiber on the east side of Antioch, going all the way down to 62nd Terrace. So that will be going on, and then you'll probably see them coming back to take down the poles and do some site restoration, but for the most part, the big part of it is complete. Now, they're working with the developer on the former library site, so there will be work on undergrounding that, but as far as this project, we're really close. So I want to let you know that. That's really exciting news. And then as far as our 2025 street and drainage project, we have a pre-construction meeting scheduled for Wednesday, and at that point, we'll find out if Matt Kanani will be starting the first week of August or the second week of August. We'll be working with the principal and the council and getting information out to the residents to let them know. We would have liked to get 61st Street done before school started, but the good news is that Water One was allowed, they should be done on August 1st, get their work done. So at least they had a lot of main breaks on 61st Street, so at least they have that work done. So more to come on that project, but it will be starting soon.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Caldwell.
Yeah, question back to the underground utilities. Did we ever get a final number from Evergy on what this is costing?
So they don't, they give us their number, and then they can charge us at the end time and materials. So we won't get a number until the very end, and then they'll bill us, and then we're required to pay that.
Any other questions, Director Cummings? Go ahead, Mr. Beto.
For the Google and Spectrum work on Antioch, will they be doing a lane drop in the northbound lane on Antioch? Is that right?
Probably
Yeah.
a lane drop, yeah.
Okay.
And as soon as we find that out, we'll get that out. We'll post it on social media and let everyone know.
I know you will. Thank you.
Yes.
Ms. Hands, go ahead.
Given an earlier comment we made and an observation I made, I noticed on 67th Street east of I-35, the street was closed down, and I read somewhere that it was Water One was at work there. Do you know anything about their work?
Are you talking west of the water main break, west of, wait,
No,
67?
It was east on 67th Street.
Yes.
Yeah, we've had a lot
Yes.
of water main breaks.
I know, it's that time of the year.
Right.
In the middle, near EB, they're still trying to find a water main break.
Okay.
And then we've got a little bit, if you remember that they worked at 67th and Antioch, they patched that water main break. But now we've got a pothole on the southwest corner that we're trying to figure out if that is a water main break or not. So a lot going on that.
Going on
So
there.
that's what they're doing, is trying to find any kind of leaks. So that's why they had signage up.
Okay. It seemed like they got the 75th Street water main break
Yes.
repaired fairly quickly, but
Yes.
it was quite dramatic. Got a
Oh,
lot of attention.
Yes, it was.
Yes. Yeah, they could tell where it was.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
I thought I saw a guy with one of them divining rods out there. That I'm looking for
Could
that
be.
leak.
Yeah.
He didn't even need that.
Didn't need that. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay, well, any other questions for Director Gumke? No? Okay. Well, one more. Go ahead, Ms. Shredder.
I'm sorry. The I-35 interchange study, do we have any timeline from HNTB when they will be coming forward with anything further on that?
We had our third meeting, I think it was scheduled in September, and they're still looking at some options at Antioch and Shawnee Mission Parkway, so it still should be about that time frame, but that's kind of slowed them down a little bit because they're trying to come up with some creative solutions there.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Appreciate it.
Okay, Sands, go ahead.
And because I promised her I would ask her this question. 75th Street Bridge, I know that it's Overland Park's project, and I'm hoping that you're just as frustrated as we are to think it's still sitting.
Yes, I heard from them today, and they're hoping to have a solution in August. They have geotechnical issues. There's a sanitary sewer line close to the pier that they just found out, so they're still trying to figure out what to do. So I'm hoping that next month I'm going to come back and tell you we have a decision, but I can't promise you for sure.
Yes, Overland Park. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, I guess, thank you, Director Gumke.
Thanks.
We have the Park and Recreation Advisory Board minutes. We're in our packet. Does anybody have any questions for Director Slocum on that? No? Okay. Well, Mr. Engel, do you have anything else from staff?
Just maybe to add on to all the great conversation about traffic. Starting tonight, there's going to be substantial overnight lane and ramp closures on northbound I-35. You can find info on our social media to inform you what those are. It's my understanding that's going to go on for a couple weeks. I think, where's Caitlin? I don't see Caitlin. Couple weeks, yeah. So, but you can check on our social media as that stuff migrates up northbound I-35. Then second, last but not least, in our community development department, wanted to let the council know that Nancy Yoakum is retiring on Wednesday after 13 years of dedicated service. She'll have a little reception in our community training room up on Thursday. We wish her well. I really wish her well. I worked with her for 7 years in Prairie Village before we both came over here together. So she and I go back many, many years, and she's been a great friend to me and a great friend and a Merriam resident. So she gets to transition into just being a resident. So wanted to make sure that we publicly acknowledged her service to the city. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
Questions for Mr. Engel? Okay, I see no questions for you, sir. Gosh, that takes us to pretty much the end of our meeting. No executive session this evening. Okay. Well, I would entertain a motion for adjournment. Ms. Haynes,
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
motion. Do we have a second? This way, Mr. Silvers.
I second that.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.